Have you ever seen a pattern in a couple where one person is highly critical and the other one is very irresponsible?
Yes, in my own life.
Tell me what.
So
Okay,
I got a
or so
story for you.
you would probably not be the irresponsible one if I know you at all.
Well, I don't know about that, if it's irresponsible or not, but it before I knew any better, my wife and I had a lot of conflict over sex in our marriage. I had a lot of desire and she didn't. And I would push and she would withdraw. And
Yeah.
I would be really sweet to her. I knew how to be a great nice guy. Do all the things. Like I'd write her these elaborate love letters, but looking back, I cringe reading what I wrote her because they're actually subtle attempts at control and manipulation. It's
Yeah.
really what I was
Yeah.
doing. Anyway, I just wish that if only she would just get a hold of her sexuality. This is my thinking at the time, right? If only she would just
Mhm. Mhm.
um, embrace her own sexuality, then this area of conflict in our marriage would just go away. And then we just have the most perfect, ideal marriage because we fight about nothing else. That's the only thing we struggle about. Everything else would be great. If only she would just do this one thing. There's this book I got. It was a fantastic book. Loved it. Loved the author. Loved it. I read it. I think I did the audio first. I loved it so much about the physical book. And every time it's like Emily needs to read this book. It's about embracing your sexuality. She just needs it. So I'd highlight the parts. I'd dog eat ear the corners. I'd like put post-its in certain pages, like write in the margins. Like Emily, read this part. Like do this part. And I'd set it on like her nightstand, and it didn't move.
Mm.
So
But the bigger picture is was, your energetic influence moving her towards or away from where you wanted her to go?
towards where I want her to go.
Well, what I'm asking is, were you making it easier for her to do what you wanted or harder?
Well, at the time, I was thinking I was doing the right thing. Um,
But
but
realistically though,
realistically, I didn't
like
know
the
any better at the
impact.
time. But I was pushing her way even further.
Yeah, that's the thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is how when I'm trying to get my partner to do option A, I'm actually nudging them towards option B, and this happens all the time.
Yes, inadvertently, right?
It's totally inadvertent, and we don't even realize it's doing it, but it happens so like a lot of the time when a couple is sitting here on this couch and partner A is complaining about partner B, and if partner B would only do this thing, but my influence on partner B is that I'm actually nudging them away from the thing that I want them to change. It happens so often.
Yes, yes. So I moved the book to the pillow, so she can't, like I'm not being subtle
Double down.
anymore.
We always double down
Right, double down, and then
because she hadn't noticed it. I'm sure. I'm sure she had no idea what you were up to. Yeah.
and then it's like back on the nightstand. Like anyway, it came to a head. We had a discussion. Like Emily, I really think if you read this book and did the things in there, it would just make things so much better in our marriage. And she looks at me like, how in the world do you expect me to sit and read a book? I have young kids. I homeschool. I can barely have a shower to myself every day. I can't even use the bathroom, let alone with any bit of privacy, and let alone you want me to sit and read a book? Like for her, it was so low on her priority list. She's like, why do you want me to do this? Like, I can't do this right now. So I'm like, fine, I get it. Let's see if we can work this out. So we came up with an agreement. It was my idea that I would take over meals for 2 weeks, all the meal prep,
Mhm.
shopping, cooking, clean up everything, and because that's usually something a role she would take on. And in exchange, she'd have, it'd free up, some more time in her day that she would be took that time to read the book. Now, to make this a little more context, we we did have disagreements over mealtime because when we have dinner really late, like 7:30, 8 o'clock, after cleanup and the kids go to bed, it's late. It's like 9, 10 o'clock by then, and we don't have any couple time anymore. So I always wanted meals done sooner. But uh, so those 2 weeks, guess what? I had dinner done like 5 o'clock, 5:30 every single day while working full time. And I let her know it. Like, hey, I can work full time and I can get dinner done on time and they're good meals.
Mhm.
Like, what gives? How come
Mhm.
you can't do that? I didn't say it in those words, but that was kind of the energy behind it too.
The message got through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if she's in the bedroom, supposedly reading this book, Is she out there like is she's in the room like fawning like, oh, my husband, he's so wonderful. He's doing all these things for me. He's
Mhm.
making my life better. No. In fact, it's
So
having
what
the
you're
opposite
talking about
effect on her.
is yeah, yeah, you're talking about zooming out and looking at the system as a whole instead of just saying, well, I took action A, which should have consequence B, based on a very narrow and oversimplified idea of how people work. Well, why didn't Emily do what you wanted? How would you summarize what was driving her actions? What was she fighting for?
She was fighting for a self because the way I had framed the problem is I had it figured out and you don't. I know what's right,
Mm-hmm.
you don't. If you would just do this, it would fix my problem. And the
Mm-hmm.
moment I put myself kind of on that pedestal, maybe that's not the right word, but we created a hierarchy in our marriage, right? I am above her, she's below. And I engage with her with that energy, it is not motivating for the person who's being condescended
No,
to
it's
do,
not.
no, they'll fight for their own freedom, their own individuality every single time, I think. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that was a very natural thing for her to kind of resist even more in that. Uh, but I think
The
that's
way I would phrase it is that she was fighting for her freedom or her sovereignty.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I see it as a very central drive to how we are as human beings, that we long to be free and we long to be in charge of our lives and our decisions. And if someone tries to take that away from me, I will instinctively fight back. And I really don't know anyone who yields to that over the long run. I mean, people might yield for a limited time, but in the long run, in a marriage especially, I don't know anyone who actually yields to that kind of pressure.
Right, right. 100%. Because we don't want to be controlled or dictated by another person. That's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. And you can't have an intimate relationship with someone that you feel controlled by or that's trying to control you, where you don't feel free in it. It
Mm-hmm.
might be a functional marriage, but if you want a passionate marriage, there's got to be freedom in it.
So I have this theory that effective ways of having influence on my wife live in the right brain, and ineffective ways live in the left brain. So the left brain is obsessed with this oversimplified control and manipulation that doesn't work on people. It works on objects, but it doesn't work on people.
Right.
And the right brain is capable of seeing people as people and just understanding this. If I try to influence you, Dan, as soon as I start pressuring your personal sovereignty, your sense of self, you're going to push back because that's what people do.
Yes. I like the phrase calm the heck down. That's kind of my mantra.
Mm-hmm.
I had to calm the heck down around why I was pushing her so much for the certain outcome that I wanted. Not that it wasn't important to me, it's that part of it's anxiety driven, right? Like, I really want this. It matters a lot to me. So I'm going to keep pushing hard to get it. Part of it's too, I have an entrepreneurial background. So in business life and goals and whatever, I'm a high achiever, I would consider myself. Everything I've set my mind to, if I push hard enough and work hard enough, I do get. And I think it's not just in myself, but I see this with other people too. That principle doesn't always translate to relationships or what you want out of other people in relationships. That probably goes back to that left brain, right brain concept you just mentioned right now.
Yeah, just this idea that there is a way for me to. Sometimes I tell couples that you each have 80% of the power in your relationship if you use it appropriately. Because the way I see relationships is most of what I do in my marriage is responding to my wife, and she's also mostly responding to me. So we're mostly responding to each other, which means that when I take proactive step and make a real change, then I can have a lot of power and influence the way the relationship goes. But it has to be me doing something different than what I was doing before. And so people always say, "Well, I already did that," and I was like, "No, what you already did got you where you are." Okay, and so if you have 80% of the power, then you are responsible for setting up the system that you have right now. Like you're playing a role in it. And so people like to imagine. It's a very common idea that I have no power in my relationship and my wife has all the power. She gets to make all the decisions. I'm just here, poor little me, and I have no power. But realistically, either person can go first in doing the very difficult thing of changing the underlying structure of the relationship.
Yep.
But I agree with calming the heck down. That's the first step is slowing down and calming enough to see things clearly.
Right. Because if I'm engaging with my wife out of, let's say, it's all emotional functioning, not, using my brain, not intellectual functioning,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's very reactive. So it's calming the heck down allows me to, it's not that my feelings don't matter. It's not that emotions don't matter, but it's calming down enough not to make every decision based on emotional reactivity. I can actually think through things a little bit more, a little bit slower. And uh, oftentimes, if I'm slowed down enough, I do come up with better ideas of how to approach situations that aren't just knee-jerk
Mhm.
reactions to how I'm feeling in the moment.
Yeah, I think of it sometimes as my first idea is usually a bad idea, especially if I'm feeling some sort of, not always, but
Uh-huh.
if I'm feeling regressed, if I'm not doing very well, if I'm upset at my wife, then my first idea is usually a bad idea. And so I can come up with something better, but I have to let that first idea kind of sail on past and wait for the next one to come.
I'm working with another couple, James, where he has stopped initiating. This is a hypothetical
Mm,
situation where he's the higher desire spouse in his marriage, she is the lower desire spouse. For years, he wants her to step up in initiating. He's tired of being the only one with overtures for sex, and
mm,
she's happy
mm,
to comply, but he wants her to he wants to be wanted by her. He wants her to step up and do
mm,
the initiating.
mm,
And one Saturday, uh, things came to a head. They've been out of town for 2 weeks, uh, on vacation, visiting family. So intimate times was very limited. Now they're back. He is so ready to go, and she is just not in the mood. And it's just fine then. I give up initiating. I am sick and tired of feeling rejected. It feels like
mm,
chronic rejection. From now on,
mm,
you do the initiating, and whenever you're ready, I will be here for you to say yes. And
mm,
so he just stopped initiating. So that's kind of the setup. And the thought, I think the thinking, the logic is for him, if I stop initiating, uh, they'll will create a void in the marriage relationship. Uh, then she'll step up and then do the initiating because I was doing all the time. Then she'll realize, oh no, it's not happening. Then she'll step up and do it. But what's happening in this relationship is all of that pressure to for her to now initiate is actually making it even more difficult for her to want to initiate. And he's getting more and more frustrated because he's like, counting the days. Wait, I said it's your turn to initiate. It's been a week, it's been 2 weeks, it's been a month, it's been 2 months. You're supposed to be doing this now. And if she had any desire before, now it's almost zero because of now the new obligation that she has to step in. And it comes
mm,
back to what we're talking about with that authority, wanting to be our own authority, to have our own autonomy. If she initiates, it's like she's giving in, she's capitulating
mm.
to what he wants. So to kind of assert herself, it's almost she thinks it's better off if she doesn't initiate. So they're kind of at this standstill. They're at this. They're really gridlocked over this issue.
I think there is a way he could do that cleanly. Like he could say, hey, I'm going to take a pause from initiating, but it's the more subtle, it's the nuanced part of it where, because you hit the nail on the head, the thing that makes it harder for her to do this is that he has set things up in a way where when she does what he wants, she loses.
Yes.
And so he has taken a stance of, I'm the one in control here, and I'm the one who calls the shots, and the shot I'm calling is for you to do this. And so he's making it hard, not impossible, but hard for her to do what he wants and hold on to her integrity.
Yeah.
So in this case, probably pressuring her past the amount of solid self that she has. And so what he needs to do is he needs to calm the heck down, like you said, and say, well, this is what I want, but I'm not going to use my emotionality to try to get it. I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to nag you. I'm going to treat you really well. And that's really the core is, I mean, it's pretty easy to just ask yourself, well, how well am I treating my partner as I go through this process? So I can say, hey, I'm not going to initiate for the next month, and I'm going to treat you really well. And that's a big difference between, oh, I'm not going to initiate for the next month and I'm going to treat you like crap.
Yeah.
And then why didn't you do what I wanted? So the question it's so hard to talk about, but the energy I'm putting into the relationship, is it making it easier for my partner to be who I want them to be, or is it making it harder for my partner to be who I want them to be? And honestly, most of the time in most relationships, it's more the second one, where we naturally tend to make it harder. And I do see that as a left brain problem because I think the left brain falls into that trap really easily.
Yes, I like that. So am I making it easier for my spouse to do what I want, or
Mm-hmm.
or is it making it harder? And another
Yeah.
aspect of it is, where is my locus, my focal point? I guess, because in the
Mm-hmm.
scenario I pointed, his point of focus, his point of center is on her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not within himself. Like
Mm-hmm.
in his mind, in that situation, in that circumstance, the only path to success is if she does something,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not a it's very her focus. It's very external focused. If it was instead, I am going to stop initiating because it's not good for me. I need to find something else that's better for our marriage than the current
Mm-hmm.
setup like this. I need a break.
Mm-hmm.
You see how that's going to be a different energy. It's going to be more self-focused, like taking more
Mm-hmm.
self-responsibility in that situation. I think
Yeah.
that plays a big role in how couples escape patterns like this.
Yeah, and the escape is often I'm going to be okay regardless of what choices you make, right?
Yeah.
So I sometimes talk about how one of our most earliest instincts is to use dysregulation to get taken care of. So when I'm a baby, I get taken care of by getting dysregulated. And when I'm an adult, I also try to do that. And it doesn't work as an adult, but we still do it all the time. And so this example you're giving, there's some of that there, which is this idea that I'm not going to be okay unless you change. And he might not be thinking about it that way, but he's definitely doing that. And you can make the exact same move accompanied with, oh, and by the way, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to treat you really well. And now it's a whole different move. I'm not going to initiate sex for the next month, and I'm gonna have a really good life, and I'm going to be totally okay. And I'm not putting my well-being to be your responsibility. I'm actually taking care of myself, and I'm also making it clear what I want you to do. So there's a very, very different vibe between those two. But to do the second one, I have to give up the fantasy of being able to control my partner.
Yeah, absolutely. And it isn't the answer people want to hear.
Well, it's so much harder.
It's so much harder because it means you got to do what? What? She's the one that's on initiating. I'm the one doing it
Hmm.
all. And then you got to tell him,
I mean, it really is difficult. It's changing brain patterns that have been there for a long time.
yes,
So
yes.
my brain is designed to work the way it works, and I know certain problem-solving skills. I know certain patterns, certain ways of resolving conflict, certain ways to try to get what I want, and obviously none of those have worked because if they'd worked, I wouldn't be here. And so, really, it takes building new pathways in the brain to be able to behave differently.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Kind of redoing, reconstructing those things.
One way I like to think about it is that we don't. Actually, I learned this from my sister Catherine that she thinks that we don't really get rid of the old pathways. We just add new parallel pathways. And so, the way my brain used to work, that option is still there, but now I have another option as well. And if the other option works better, then I have a tendency to choose the new option over and over. But I have to build that new pathway before I can use it.
That's so funny. So, maybe a metaphor for that. This summer, we went to Scotland as a family on vacation.
Oh, cool.
And there's seven of us in my family. And we get a rental car, and it's like a miniature bus. It's this
Hmm.
big,
Hmm.
big
Big
thing.
old van.
And the roads are narrow there. There's like no
Mm,
shoulder, and they drive on the
geez.
left side of the road. And this is my first time driving on the
Ah,
left side of the road.
this is a nightmare scenario.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we ran into some trouble because of that. I won't go into the details, but
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
by the end of the week, I finally got a little more comfortable
Oh,
with the
wow.
reverse drive on the road and everything in this big car. So yeah, that's it. It takes some practice. It takes a lot of stumbling, but it's that process.
That's a really good metaphor.
Yeah,
It's like learning to drive in Scotland in a huge van. But it's just like that. It's incredibly uncomfortable. It feels impossible. The first time you do it is really hard. The next time is a little bit easier, and then after you've done it for a week, you're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this.
yeah.
But that's a really good metaphor. I like that. Ooh, I'm
We
gonna
hit a
steal that
pretty
one.
big pothole and got two flat tires as
Oh
a
my
result.
gosh! From one
Yeah,
pothole.
we hit it hard, partially because it's around a corner. A car was coming at us, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
so I knee jerky, overcorrect, go off the road, hit a big hole, and that was like a wake up call. Like I gotta
yeah.
take this a little more slowly. I gotta be a little more
Oh
careful here.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think it's like that
Oh
in relationships too. You're gonna hit potholes, and it's
yeah.
okay. It just is a reminder to
Mm.
take things a little bit more slowly and but stick to it. Stick to the process. You'll figure it out.
I really like this metaphor of having to drive on the other side of the road. That's a really good metaphor. I remember driving in England, in a rental car. We're going down this tiny country lane, and there's like 12-foot hedgerows on both sides. And I'm doing like 40 miles an hour,
No
whatever. And
shoulder.
then this
Uh-huh.
truck No. It's like literally like the car is 6 feet wide and the road is 8 feet wide, and it's a two-lane road, right? And this huge full-size semi truck just comes the other way, and they're just like this happens every day, and yeah, I just have to back up, and I mean that's just the way it is there. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Meanwhile, like literally the road in my neighborhood that I live on is like 4 times wider than this road that semi trucks are driving on. It's crazy.
That's crazy too.
It's so hard. Yeah. Okay. Well,
It'd be great if
should
I
we
had
end
a
it there,
third
Dan?
story.
Or do you want to add one more thing? Go ahead. Yeah, bring
I
another
need to
story.
think about a third story. Um, let's see. I think a personal story would be good. I'm trying to go through my mind the catalog of things Emily's okay with me sharing. James, I think conflict in marriage is a wake up call of something that needs to be addressed in the relationship. I mean, not all
Mm,
conflict is necessarily bad. How you deal with the conflict matters, but the existence
mm,
of conflict alone, I think, is a stepping stone if you let it be for your marriage. Um, there was in our home, we have a guest bedroom, and we had some guests stay overnight, and I was cleaning up in there, and I stepped over by the foot of the bed, and I noticed the carpet was wet. And
mhm.
so I figured maybe our guest spilled a drink or something. Anyway, like a week later, I was in there taking care of something else, and the carpet was still wet. I'm like, this isn't good. Uh, and then, but I don't want to do anything about it. So a
Just
few
ignore
weeks
it.
went by, maybe a month went by, and guess what? I reluctantly stepped on that carpet and it was wet.
Oh no.
And I don't want to do anything about this. I'm busy. This is like the last thing I want to do. Anyway, another week goes by. I'm like, okay, it's still wet. I think I need to do something about this. And turns out there's a pipe, a water pipe that runs in the wall. It had a
Oh my
pinhole,
gosh.
and it caused like thousands of dollars of water damage. I had to rip everything
Yeah,
out and do it all and everything, right? I think a lot of marriages are like that. We have an
that's a
issue,
great metaphor.
we have a struggle, but we don't want to deal with it right now because it's so
Yeah.
inconvenient to deal with it.
Uh,
And it goes unaddressed. And you'll eventually turn into a big enough crisis where you have to address it. Or you can probably be a little more disciplined as a couple and kind of create a ritual where, like, no, we're going to have a regular system or process in our marriage to address things. So some of the couples I know that do this really well, they like and they've created a habit of making time together regularly just to talk, just to work through things.
mm,
Whether it's like a Sunday afternoon or maybe it's just a little ritual of connection every night. But they've created this couples that do it really well, then they can address issues as they arise while they're still rather small, rather than waiting for things to kind of really build up and then things become a crisis and then it's bigger job to kind of address. So it's that ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure kind of a concept. And I think when
mm.
couples do that and do that well, I think they're happier. They learn how to overcome issues better. It's so much easier if you need to drive on the left side of the road when it's a short distance rather than it's got to be
Mhm.
a multi-day journey and you're struggling with the whole thing.
Sometimes I call that more conflict, not less. And so you need to have more conflict, but handle it better.
Yeah, I like that.
Because what you're talking about with the wet spot is you avoiding conflict,
Exactly.
which is honestly, I think it's the biggest, probably the biggest problem in most relationships is actually avoiding conflict. Now, when conflict comes, we also don't handle it well, but we avoid the conflict. We don't talk about things and we don't try to deal with things. We don't try to make things better.
There was a couple that came to my marriage retreat and they shared this story about the struggle in their marriage, the main struggle in their marriage. And things came to a head when she caught him sending text messages to uh, basically sexting someone else, kind of
Yeah,
extramarital.
sure.
And it was devastating for her. And he was absolutely embarrassed. When he looks back, for him, it started as a small, innocent thing. Uh,
Mm,
and then things kind of got very friendly very fast with this friend. And but he justified it because she was really closed down sexually in their marriage at the time. He really wanted an outlet and it just felt so good, so validating that someone
mm,
else saw him as attractive because he wasn't getting it from his wife. so he could justify it that way. Now, they both had a lot of work to do, but the end result of that was kind of like a nuke and pave of their marriage. It's like, okay, we're going to take everything down to the studs and we're going to build it back up again. And just the conversations they had. Now, it's doing everything we talked about in this call. It's, can we think about what is it in our relationship? What are our patterns? What are our cycles? How is it that I am reacting to you? Why is it, like for him, it would have been like, why is it that I crave this external validation about sex so much that I almost I give up my values to get it because I feel like I need it so much. And then for her, it was like, why do I have such a difficult time with sexuality? What is it about my upbringing? What is it about my thought patterns that make it so that I automatically shut that part of me down? And how is that not only unhealthy for me, but what's the impact it has on my marriage too? So it was like those kinds of deep questions that they both wrestled through very patiently together and able to rebuild now they have a very happy marriage where they've overcome a lot of those challenges too.
So it's the willingness to deal with it head on.
Yeah.
And the skills to do so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that it's hard to imagine what better looks like. And so, if I was exposed to a certain kind of marriage when I was young, and then I've had a certain kind of marriage, and all my friends have a certain kind of marriage, it's really hard to imagine, well, what does caring about someone a lot more look like? And what does being a lot more honest and having a lot more conflict, but healthy conflict, or what does even healthy conflict look like? If all I've ever known is avoid, 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 explode, then what does it look like to actually bring something up in a collaborative way?
Yeah, that's great. So I think some education and help on actual tools. I have, it's on my website, like a 10-step how to have hard conversations, kind of a step-by-step outline. Step one is calm the heck down.
I knew you were going to say that. I was like, I bet I know what step one is.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
Right.
Step one on mine is slow down. It's more or less the same.
There you go. I like that. In fact, I say that phrase so much. Friend bought me they gave this as a gift. It's a sign I hang.
Calm the heck down.
It says calm the heck
That's
down.
a great phrase, though.
Holding it
It's
up
a great
right now.
phrase. It's like your catchphrase.
It's a great reminder.
So,
But you can't engage in a conflict when you're emotionally overstimulated. It's like your thinking part of your brain goes offline when your reactive part of your brain, freeze, fight, flight, whatever you want to call it, when that's hijacked your brain, it doesn't work. So self-soothing is a skill. And I think that's where like some people find a lot of solace in practices like yoga, meditation, prayer, running, like things that involve basically calming that part of the brain down regularly. It's a skill. It's a muscle you can develop, I think. And
I have a favorite, what I call tactical calming. So I think of tactical versus strategic. I was a military guy, you know that, but strategic is big picture, right? And like when I have time to think, and tactical is in the moment, what do I do? And so tactical calming is, what can I do right now without disengaging from the conversation? And so like, yeah, I could go take a 10-minute break and calm myself down, but sometimes, I need to deal with something right now. And so one way that I do that is I look for 3 things I can feel outside my body and 3 things I can feel inside my body.
oh, I like
It's like right now, it's like, yeah, so I can feel the air on my skin. I can feel, the texture of the couch on my butt, and I can feel the floor against my feet. Those are 3 outside. And inside, I can feel like a slight pain in my back, and I can feel a tingling in my face, and I can feel that I'm hungry, But so 3 things outside, 3 things inside. But we have this phrase, which is I'm going to come to my senses. What I just did is I just came to my senses in that I'm leaving the land of imagination and fantasy and ideas, and I'm coming into the land of physical reality, which is much more safe than the land of ideas. Especially if I'm in a difficult marriage, the ideas about my marriage I have they don't make me feel safe. I feel really threatened. I don't feel okay. But if I come back to physical reality, like I'm sitting on a couch, I live in Northern California, I'm fine. Right? I'm not in a war zone. No one's going to hit me. I'm fine. And so, but I need to come into physical reality to feel okay. So that's just one way that I calm the heck down, is by coming into my senses, come into physical reality. Sometimes you can use all 5 senses too. You can say, I sometimes say eyes, ears, mouth, and nose, plus touch. So those are your 5 senses. And you're like, okay, what do I see? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I feel? And just go through them like that. But I really like to focus more on what do I feel, because I can feel outside the body and inside.
I like that. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. When I first learned I was anxious, this was like 10 years ago, I didn't know I was anxious. I thought I I was good at pretending to be calm,
Uh-huh.
and I kind of convinced myself. And so, but I learned I was anxious when I was deployed in the Middle East a long time ago, and that's when I started Googling, and I found things like meditation, and I found breathing exercises, and that was the first time I learned that I could breathe to calm down. So it really helps.
That's great. Cool. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Should we leave it there, Dan?
That's great. Yeah, that's good.
Why don't you tell people where to find you?
My website is getyourmarriageon.com. You can find me there.
Hmm.
My website has tons of resources. I have a few great resources. One is a mobile app called Intimately Us. It's designed for married couples that want to take intimacy in their marriage to the next level. And I have an Instagram with a lot of fun content. We about half of our content is, I guess you could say, adult sex ed. We talk a lot about sexual
Hmm.
topics in the context of a marriage and how to just make it more fun. And then the other half of the content
Hmm.
is more of this, I would say, coaching content. How do you develop a solid relationship? How do you overcome conflicts so that the overall climate in your marriage is one where intimacy can thrive?
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Dan, and I
Great.
will talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.